welcome back to my channel. It is your girl, Dutchy. And in today's video, I thought I would sit down with you guys and provide you with an updated coming out story. Not gonna lie, this video was originally going to be a how to know if you're bisexual video, but then when I started writing my script for where I wanted this video to go and what I wanted to talk about, I delved pretty deeply into my own sexuality, my own coming out story, and I realized a lot of you probably haven't seen my original coming out story because it was like 4 years ago now. So yeah, I thought, why not provide you guys with an updated coming out video? Yeah, shit's about to get real personal. So in this video, I'm still going to be discussing like how to know whether you're bi or gay, but it will focus primarily on my own coming out story, how I came to terms with it, and like things that happened to me, but also thoughts and feelings that you might be experiencing as well if you're confused about your sexuality. So I'm gonna try and tie both of those into one video. I'm also going to be focusing on internalized biphobia and the validity of being bisexual and everything concerning that as well, because I feel like that needs to be spoken about. And this is also by far my most requested video, so you're welcome. So without further ado, let's head on into this updated coming out story slash how to know if you're bi or gay video. So if you're watching this video, chances are you're a wee bit confused about what's going on in the old noggin. Am I right? Rest assured, we have all been there in some way or another, and you're not alone at all. You are never alone. As always, I would like to preface this video by saying two things. Number one is if you are indeed struggling with your sexuality and you do happen to identify with one or many of the things that I mentioned in this video, I am in no way, shape or form labeling you as bisexual. You could be watching this video completely confident in any sexuality or not, and identify with many of the things that I say and not be bisexual. I'm genuinely just going to be talking about personal experience and trying to help you guys as much as I can and give the best advice that I can. And number two, and I feel like this is a common theme throughout most of my videos, you don't actually have to label yourself, and this is not what the video is about at all. This video is going to focus more on the feelings and thoughts I was having to come to terms with my sexuality rather than the whole labeling part. But yeah, as I said, you never have to, and obviously you can be completely comfortable in your sexuality and label yourself, or completely comfortable and not, confused and not, etc, etc. Labels are there for people who want to use them, and if you don't want to, that's cool, there's no right or wrong. Cool! Now that we've got that out of the way, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that if you can't sit properly in a chair, make excessive use of the following hand gestures in both uncomfortable and comfortable social situations, can't leave the house without wearing a beanie or hat of some sort, spend a considerable amount of time at parties in the toilet, not actually on the toilet, but tucking your shirt back in, cuff the sleeves or pants of any outfit that you wear that you are bi. But I mean, if you do any of those, you're bisexual. Those are all fairly common stereotypes that some bisexuals may or may not find themselves partaking in. However, there are a few common thoughts and feelings that some bisexuals may have experienced throughout their journey, and I'm going to cover those right now. So from as young as I can remember, I always liked cisgendered guys. Throughout high school, I was always either flirting with a guy, had a thing with a guy, or had a boyfriend. And I'll be the first to admit, girls were never part of the equation, or not to my conscious mind at least. And I mean, everyone's experience is different. Our sexuality is something we are born with. You can't choose to be bisexual or choose to be a lesbian or choose to be transgender. You don't choose to experience gender dysphoria. You don't choose to be confused about your sexuality. So in saying that, it is important to keep in mind, some people will experience things and realize things about their own sexualities or gender identities earlier, and some will experience all of this later. But there's no rule book, there's no right or wrong time to experience or realize these things. It'll happen when it happens. Figuring out if you're bisexual or just gay is a really tough one. And if I'm honest with you, it's still something that I struggle with from time to time. But then I realize, hey, that's the cheeky little internalized biphobia in me trying to take over my thoughts and feelings and confuse me, which is a whole other topic that I will be speaking about later. Just so we have it covered, the term bisexuality means that you are attracted to your own gender and another gender or other genders. Not necessarily all of them, and not restricted to cisgenders either. It simply means that you're just attracted to your own and other genders. And hey, sexuality is a spectrum, and so too bisexuality. When you're discovering your sexuality, and like if you're confused about your sexuality, I think something super important to remember is the whole spectrum thing. And it is totally okay to be super attracted to one gender or one person and then wonder whether you're attracted to another gender or wonder how much. I don't really believe in percentages myself. Like if someone asked me what my percentage is, I wouldn't be able to tell them because I don't know. What I do know is my sexuality or bisexuality is super fluid. And yes, at times I have felt way more attracted to cisgendered women and wanted to date and have sex with them more than cisgendered men. And at other times I've experienced the reverse. And it's totally okay to experience that and have those feelings and have those thoughts. You don't have to have a 50-50 split for your bisexuality to be valid, or a 60-40 split, or whatever. None of these things, like percentages, make your thoughts, feelings, or behaviors towards identifying as bisexual any less valid. If you know you're super attracted to one gender and only a little bit attracted to another gender, you're still a valid bisexual. Despite what some may think, there is no right or wrong way as identifying as bi. You don't have to cuff your pants or your sleeves, you don't have to wear thumb rings, or own 100 pairs of Connies or Vans. At the end of the day, all stereotypes aside, the one and only thing that determines your sexuality is who you're attracted to. And if you're attracted to your own gender and another gender or other genders, you can identify as bisexual. Another point that is super helpful in trying to figure out whether you are bi or gay is that gay people can still find people of the opposite gender or other genders to their own attractive without wanting more. And for example, this could be super confusing if you're a girl and you know you like girls and want to kiss girls and date girls, and then you see a random guy in a bar and you're like, damn. But I suppose that's when you have to question whether you're just appreciating that yes, this boy is really nice to look at, but would you want to kiss him, date him, sleep with him, marry him, have his children? Maybe not. Or maybe yes, if you're bisexual. Or perhaps maybe you're pan. Maybe you're yet to discover just who you are attracted to, which is a whole other realm. And with that being said, here comes the coming out story. I've dated a bunch of guys. I've always enjoyed getting to know guys, talking to guys, going on dates with guys, sleeping with guys, and being in relationships with guys. So basically, I was in a long-term relationship when I started to question my sexuality, and it had nothing to do with our relationship or the guy that I was dating either. Basically, I started having recurring sexual dreams about a girl I knew, and I just started to wonder what these dreams meant. And for those of you who don't know, I'm someone that doesn't take dreams lightly. I believe they all hold some type of meaning and they are relevant to whatever is going on in our lives at that time. And obviously for me, this was my time to start exploring what those dreams were trying to tell me if I wanted to do so. So basically, I had a mature and open conversation with my partner at the time, and we had been together for years, since high school, and neither of us had really been with anyone else sexually. I had done a few things with other guys, but he hadn't. So we decided to take a mutual healthy break. I started experimenting and sleeping with women, and he was also free to do whatever he wanted to do as well. Luckily, I knew a girl that had always wanted to experiment with another girl too. Now keep in mind that's obviously not always going to be an option, and it's definitely not the only way to figure out your sexuality. If I hadn't have experienced with this girl, I would have eventually, I would have slept with a girl eventually, I'm sure, or I would have figured my sexuality out down the line without experimenting too. It's definitely not vital. It was just that I had that at my disposal. She wanted to, I wanted to, so it kind of fast-tracked me and my realizing my attraction for women, if that makes sense. And again, we had a super open and mature conversation about it. We were both two girls that were like, hey, I kind of want to explore this side of myself, whether that's something I would like or not. We didn't know. And obviously, if we didn't like what we were doing, we were just going to stop, or if one of us didn't feel comfortable. Long story short, we ended up having sex, and it was the best sex I'd had at that point. And now I'm gonna get hella real with you guys for the rest of the video, so enjoy that. Exploring a woman's body that wasn't my own felt oddly natural to me. My first sexual experience with a guy was super awkward and far from natural, and although it was fun and like exciting and everything because we were young and still felt good, it was nothing like my first time with a girl. But as I said, this could also be due to the fact that I was much older with my first time with a girl and more experienced in being intimate with someone, or just the fact that I felt more comfortable having sex with a woman. So I ended up having more and more sex with women and realizing how much I loved it and how attracted I was to females and how I could definitely see myself dating a woman. It was just so different to anything I'd done before, and I just couldn't get enough of it. So, as you can probably start to see, my attraction for women shot straight up, while my attraction for men was almost ignored for a considerable amount of time. And for a while, I thought I was gay. I mean, I was enjoying sex with women way too much to be bi, right? For that whole experimenting phase, I didn't even think about guys. Like, I was too busy sleeping with and dating girls to even think about guys. And at that point, I didn't really know much about internalized biphobia, what it meant or how it would affect me or come to affect me, but that's exactly what it was, and that's exactly what was happening. So I experimented for a while and eventually labeled myself as bisexual, which is still the term I happily identify with today. But in saying that, my bisexuality has definitely fluctuated, and that is 100% normal. But at the end of the day, like, whenever I question myself or whenever I question who I'm attracted to, who would I want to kiss, date, sleep with, or marry, it always comes down to a cisgendered woman or a cisgendered man. I can honestly see myself living out my days quite comfortably with either a man or woman that I fall madly in love with. Ew. But yeah, that doesn't matter to me. I don't prefer either. I can see it happening with either. If I was to fall in love with one or the other and spend the rest of my life with them, then so be it. That's just it. That is what bisexuality is. It does not matter. It's the fact that you are able to and are attracted to your own gender and others. And quite frankly, that's all it needs to be. As stated previously, I did go through a stage where I was just having sex with women, and for that period, I honestly thought that that would be my preference and that I preferred sleeping with women over men, but I think that's because it was so new and so good. But I guess it wasn't that. I think it was just finding the right person to fulfill your needs. The thing is, when I'm attracted to someone, male or female, I enjoy doing absolutely everything with them, including sex. In terms of a one-night stand or just like a random hookup, I would probably feel more inclined to go home with a girl just because I know that random times that I have had sex with women has been great. And I almost think that with a guy, for sex to be good, I need that emotional connection. Not always, but I think that's what makes it sort of better. But with a girl, I haven't always needed that or had that, and the sex has still been good. But in relationships, all of my needs can and have been met by men and women, which is actually such a wholesome feeling. By this point, I honestly feel like I've shared my whole life story with you, well, at least the coming out side of everything. But basically what I want you guys to take from this is figuring out your sexuality is a journey, definitely not a race. And if you treat it as a race, the truth isn't going to come to you any sooner. Everyone comes to terms with their sexuality in a different way at different times. And you may be sitting there super confident about your attraction to one gender, but questioning your attraction to another, and that's perfectly fine. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to not know who you're attracted to yet. It's okay to not label yourself now or ever. And most importantly, it's okay to just love who you want to love. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing. We don't need to complicate it. Love is love, fam. Wow, she's an inspirational queen. So yeah, that was like my brief sort of snippet of coming out. Obviously, it wasn't as long and in detail as my original one. If you want to see that, I will leave a link in the description box. But yeah, I became confused about my sexuality when I was in a long-term relationship. So it won't always happen when you're single. It won't always happen when you're young. You might be a little bit older. Like, I was 19 when it happened to me. Nearly 20 actually. So I was quite old. Some people figure it out in high school and are more confused about their sexuality and start questioning things in high school. Whereas in high school, I was completely oblivious. So that just goes to show how different everyone's experience is, and not to worry if you have friends or family or other people at your school that are coming out and you're still struggling with your sexuality. Don't stress. Like, as I said, everyone's journey is different. Obviously, I'm going to be here to answer all of your questions, and I think I pretty much covered it all, but I do get a lot of questions like, okay, I know I like girls and I'm into girls, but sometimes I'll see a boy and I find him really attractive, and I just want to, I guess the biggest thing I wanted to cover in this as well is that, yeah, you can be gay or a lesbian and still find guys attractive. It's just, I think you have to delve into your thoughts and feelings a bit more and sort of think, okay, would I want to date him? Would I want him to be my boyfriend? Or is he just good looking? And I can accept that and I can acknowledge that without wanting to do anything about it. And I think that's the biggest confusing thing, and the biggest thing that a lot of gay people think, am I gay or am I maybe bi? And obviously the reverse, being a bisexual who finds their own gender a lot more attractive or want to date someone of their own gender a lot more than another. But obviously if that attraction and that want for another gender still exists more than just the physical level, like just seeing them as attractive, you're a valid bisexual and you're valid in identifying as bisexual. I went on a bit of a rant on my TikTok about a month ago about being bisexual. I don't get it. I've been very open on here about my bisexuality. You guys all know. I literally have it in my bio of my Instagram. I've never called myself a lesbian. I use the colloquial term gay, but I'm very open about my bisexuality, my story, and I do a lot of bisexual skits and stuff, but still I do get the odd question here and there. And the reason I did the rant was lately I've been doing a lot of trends that involve dudes, and obviously I do that for girls too, but I put a TikTok up and it had something to do, like, the caption was like, when he, and I got so many questions saying, isn't she a lesbian? And I was just like, this is invalidating bisexuality so hard, and I felt like I needed to say something. That is the whole thing about being bisexual. If I date a guy, I'm still bisexual. If I date a girl, I'm still bisexual. And I think that's something that we really need to start getting through to people, even within the LGBTQ+ community, because it really grinds my gears and it does affect me. But yeah, little rant to finish off there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It got very deep very quickly, but I enjoy sharing this with you guys and obviously want to give you as much advice and life experience as I can. If you are struggling with your sexuality and you want to message me, my Instagram DMs are always open. I'll be dedicating one day a week to answer your questions. It's a new thing that I want to start doing, and I want to start featuring your fan pages once a week too. So if you do have a fan page on Instagram, tag me in all your posts and I'll be doing a fan page of the week and encouraging people to go and follow it. And yeah, if you want to chat about anything else about coming out or bisexuality or sexuality or anything, drop a comment down below if you don't mind others seeing, and we can have a nice little chat about it, and I'll be replying to all of your comments. This was wholesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're still here, I love you so much, and I will see you in my next one.